We just finished resistance stretching.
Well, the technical name is resistance flexibility and strength training, which is really long.
Resistance, flexibility, and strength training, and you'll see some videos of that with Alex and Scott. I was trying, in my head you guys were reversed, but in the camera. So they basically guided me, or instructors, I guess you could say. What are you guys called? Do you have a technical name?
They call them trainers, but
trainers.
There's a lot of coaching involved, and not just physical coaching, but like psychological, emotional, and spiritual kind of like guidance that goes on.
So like what they're about to see the videos of what we were doing. Can you explain a little bit about what was taking place during that?
Okay, so to actually change the fascia, this is what we work on.
What's fascia?
The fascia is the tissue that covers all the muscles and the bones and the tendons and ligaments, but it's a governing tissue. It covers it, but it also separates it. And the thing is, though, whenever with our daily life, we go through like emotional events, physical trauma, injury, and repetition. And what we're building up is resistance in the body, tension in the body, and building up scar tissue. And we're kind of storing like these traumatic events. So in order to unwind that tissue that encapsulates the muscles and the nerves too, the nerves that run to the organs.
You can just turn it off.
Okay. Phone is ringing. No. Okay. But so what we do is we open up that fascia by using the same method as how we got it that way as far as the scar tissue and the injury or trauma that was involved. So we use resistance and contraction. So it's a really short thing. If I do like a bicep curl here, we have to have the bicep to shorten and the tricep has to lengthen simultaneously if the tissue's healthy and the fascia is not inhibiting the muscularity. So what happens is we'll pull in with the bicep and have the person contract or resist, and then we'll pull them out in a vector where there's most resistance, and it goes to an organ meridian, like so this would be heart, and it goes to the bicep, but we pull them out in the most resistance, and that's where the most scar tissue would be, and then we'll figure out what movement pattern that's going to be to help unwind that tissue or trauma. And then that way you can get the body back and the muscles can start to shorten and lengthen. Like if I do the bicep curl, the bicep will start to shorten, and the tricep will start to lengthen automatically. And then you start getting energy through the nerve meridians to the organs, you get more blood flow, more oxygen, and then you get more body. And so
who is this, who would you say this is good for?
Well, it's really good for everyone, to tell you the truth. But we work with a lot of people that are kind of like athletes, weekend warriors, performers, people with past injuries. We also work with a lot of people that have like emotional trauma, because it's not just physical. When we work on with people, there's 4 different worlds that we work on, which is spiritual, physical, emotional, and analytical. Because all these meridians and the nerves and the muscle groups are all like different people. And there's like different types to each meridian and muscle group that Bob Cooley, our founder and boss, came up with. And so when we're stretching like a certain meridian, we're stretching like almost like a type of person with different characteristics, high and low characteristics and psychological data. And so it's kind of interesting.
Because no matter what happens in our lives, like over years, it's stored somewhere.
Yeah, we're stored somewhere.
And so it helps to have someone move through that and take it out. And it's probably so there's a lot of people might go to, or I don't know about a lot of people, but people that might go to therapy and like sit on a couch.
Right.
But then, which can be beneficial.
It can be
but then there's also something that happens. I know for me it happens a lot more using physical.
Yeah, the physical body has to be changed, because that's cellularly, those memories and that data is housed in the fascia and the tissue. And if you've ever seen fascia is like it's like a 3-sided polyhedron, and there's energy running through them, and so it's like 3D. And so that's where, whenever the scar tissue is all bounded up, it protects that memory or trauma that you couldn't process. And so what we have to do is physically open up that scar tissue so you can be able to have the tools to process that trauma, and then actually the tissue changes and how you process whatever it was, physical, emotional trauma, whatever it might be, spiritual, as far as life trauma. And so that's the way that you process it, and by changing the physical body, then that's how the tissue actually changes. But that's the foundation. If we can't change the body, you can only do so much with the energy work and the spiritual work, and obviously too like the analytical shrinking. But this, you can really change it from the foundation.
Sweet.
So
cool.
Yeah.
Alex, what do you got? You got anything to add?
I mean, it's life-changing stuff.
yeah, he makes it look good too.
I'm just
Look
here
at
for
this
the image.
Alex is the image. He's the rock. He keeps it going.
You know, he just has the style. You know, he just
Yeah, he's got the style and he holds the fort down.
yeah.
Good.
Basically.
Good balance. Good
Yeah,
balance.
exactly.
But I'll link up to how to find out about these guys in the description of the channel and the video. I mean the video channel. Sorry, I'm a little out of it because I just spent 2 hours doing this. And I'll show you like a picture. We took a picture of, we worked on one half of my body and then the other half, and then I'll kind of talk about some differences that I noticed in myself, like from my back. So we'll be able to see it. Sweet. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
In the interview that we just talked about, we talked about resistance stretching, and you can see a little bit of that right here. And what this means is as my arm that's coming down right now, I am resisting the push down, and he's pushing my arm down, and right now he's pulling it up. As he's pulling it up, my resistance is going back down towards the ground. And the same with this movement here. Now we're adding a little bit of rotation. So as he rotates my arm backwards, my force is going where my palm is, at the front of my palm, so it's going back towards the ground. And so what we're doing is we're working through that fascia, and this happened to be on my shoulder that I hurt when I flipped over my mountain bike. And a little bit more here is on, now we're adding a little bit more rotation and a little bit of force. And so he's actually supporting my arm the entire time. And you can see right here is how much force is required for him to lift up. And there's so much force of me resisting his pull is that it's actually lifting my legs off of the ground. And then if you watch his biceps of what happens, you can see how much effort it takes for him to actually pull that up. And so this is really good. Look at his biceps. Like, they are just jacked because it's so much force of me pulling against him and resisting his force of pulling up. And as we can, on the last one with the legs, it's the same type of situation where we worked on my lower body to really open up the hips and to open up those hips a little bit more. And you can see here, it's just as he's pulling up, like look at his arms, you can tell how much force it is. I'm pushing down with my heels, like into the ground, and it's just such a great way to go about opening up my entire system and open up my body. And it's a massive amount of work over the course of the past 2 hours. This is a picture of my body and what it looks like, and we've only worked on my right side, and as you can see, my right side has dropped a little bit once we started to work on the arm, and just look at the difference you can see right here with my sleeve of how much lower and longer this arm is. It's pretty incredible. And then even when you're standing straight up, like this foot, this whole side just feels so much longer. And the direction right now, I'm kind of standing at an angle, but when I walk, this one is a lot more, my right foot goes straight, while my left foot is a little bit angled out. And it's pretty incredible what actually happens after you experience this. What are we doing, Kate?
We're going to look at event spaces.
Brand new hotel.